let's talk Pokemon X and Y and the PowerSaves. Some people seem to misunderstand a little bit how the PowerSaves works with a Pokemon game specifically. I haven't used it with any other games. I don't have any other 3DS games. It it only edits your game save. It doesn't change the actual hard code of the game. Therefore, it doesn't really change anything that you couldn't change normally so far, because the Pokemon codes are hacked by a group of people known as Project Pokemon. They have very strict guidelines on what codes should be available, and one of the reasons is because of stuff like what happened with the Deancey Wonder Card code. Nintendo had a fit. They removed the code because you can't normally get Deancey, even through a Wonder Code or Wonder Card, legitimately. Yet. So they removed that. Now, I'm recording this and posting this because there's a change gender option now. So, got something in my eye here. It's a little bit early in the morning for me. Sorry. Some people seem to think that if you change the gender of a Pokemon, it will make it breedable. No. Some people think that if you add a gender to a Pokemon, it might make it breedable. No. Okay. Male and female Ditto doesn't work. Male and female Tauros doesn't work. Male and female Jinx doesn't work. I've tried all this stuff in hopes that maybe maybe it would work. But I'll explain why it didn't. Because like I said, it changes the game save, not the hard code of the game. It doesn't actually change the mechanics of the game, which is what that would entail. If the hard code doesn't exist for two Dittos to breed with each other, it won't matter that they suddenly have genders. If the hard code doesn't exist for a legendary to breed, it won't matter that your Mew is a male or female, or you have one of each, or just one of either with a Ditto. It won't matter because the code in the game does not exist in the game for it to breed, regardless of what its gender is. And Nintendo's especially not going to program that code into the mechanics for a Pokemon that is not intended to breed, whether it has a gender or not. So suddenly changing its gender is not going to add that coding into the game. That's not the way the PowerSaves works. It edits your game save, not the hard code. It's as simple as that. So if you're sitting there looking at that code wondering, I wonder if this would make this Pokemon breedable. No. It will not. Now, I tried to make a female Jinx and a male Jinx breed. It did not work. Because you're not supposed to have a male one to begin with. So how is the game going to know how to handle that information when it's not supposed to be there? The only reason you can edit those is because it is there. In case someone tried this, they didn't want you to end up with a bad egg instead of a male Mew or a male Jinx or a female Tauros or so on and so forth. That's the only reason that exists. Now, if you try to breed them, at most what you're going to get is a bad egg. At the least, they're just not going to breed. I got a bad egg, it happens. They try to protect against this, but when people insist on trying to make and use codes like this, they have to put something in the game so that it doesn't crash. When a bad egg hatches, you'll usually crash the game. In previous Pokemon games it has, so it'll probably usually crash the game. But you have a chance to keep it from happening. Get rid of the egg. And if you used a PowerSaves, reload the game save before you got the egg. They're trying to not make this an absolutely horrible experience for people who are trying to, quote-unquote, cheat. But they're not going to make a Pokemon breedable that's not breedable. And they're not going to put that coding in there. They have specific things in the code that protect against that. Changing its gender doesn't change its breedability. It's really as simple as that. And now you have the explanation as to why. Because the code does not exist in the game. So changing its gender doesn't work because it doesn't change the code of the game. And as far as, well, how do you get a male Mew legitimately? Like I said, you don't. That coding is only in there basically so the game doesn't crash on you for trying to make a Pokemon that doesn't exist. Your game data doesn't get corrupt for trying to make a Pokemon that doesn't exist. So it exists. It's illegitimate, yes, but it exists so that you can keep playing your game. It's as simple as that. So, there's my explanation. If you didn't follow it, rewind the video, and listen to it again. The basic gist of it is, change a Pokemon's gender all you want. It will not suddenly make it breedable. It just doesn't work. So, stop wasting your time unless you have a really interesting experiment. Like, will a male Jinx or a female Mr. Mime breed with a Ditto? First of all, if you have one, why aren't you just putting it in with the Ditto? It'll breed. Those guys will breed. You don't have to change the gender. It's really just for novelty or to save time running around looking for a specific gender. It's not intended to make a male or female legendary so it can breed, because it won't breed regardless. So just want you guys to stop wasting your time. Unless you have a really interesting experiment, you're wasting your time. Just because you can change its gender doesn't make it breedable. And I'm going to stop now because I'm repeating myself, but that's because I've had to tell the same person this and explain it to them in another group 5 times, and they still insisted on trying it. It didn't work. Just like I told them 5 times, 5 different ways. So just remember, changing a Pokemon's gender won't make it suddenly breedable. If it's not breedable, don't bother changing the gender to try it. I hope this helps. Oh, and if anybody has trouble with their PowerSaves getting stuck in a loop when it tries to boot up, like it does to me occasionally on Pokemon, there's literally nothing you can do about it aside from cleaning the connections. If that doesn't help, you just have to wait. I don't know why some people can get in and some people can't. I think it may be a client limit as to how many people can access excuse me, those services for that one specific game. That's a whole nother story. Tons of people disagree with me. If you want the proof, I'll explain it sometime, but I'm too tired to deal with it right now. Well, okay, it's not proof, but the data that supports my theory. There you go. But I tried it one night, and I kept trying it over and over, tons of different ways to try to get it to load up and start it, and nothing worked. So I decided, okay, I'm going to do this in the right order. So I put the cartridge in the PowerSaves, opened the application, then attached the PowerSaves to the computer. Because that's actually what it shows in the little picture that comes on the little instruction booklet. Well, it did for mine anyways. Yeah, I already packed it up away and stored, so I can't show it to you, but it's on there. I'll do it. I'll get it out some other time and show you. So it was looping again. So I decided I'm just going to let it go for a while I play Elder Scrolls Online. And about an hour later, it suddenly stopped looping. And there it was. With all my backed up game saves, no power saves, because the save on from one Pokemon game won't work on another. At least that's what I've heard. I only have one copy of Pokemon X and Y, so I can't check that one out. But I heard that's why there's no power saves, because power save from one X cartridge won't work on another X cartridge. I don't know. If anybody can tell me that you actually can do that, that'd be great. Because, like I said, I only have one of each cartridge. One X, one Y. So I can't try that one out. I'd love to know, because if you can transfer them from one X cartridge to another, then I have a ton of game saves that people would be interested in. But back to what I was saying. After about an hour, it suddenly loaded up. And there were new codes that weren't there the last time I tried it. Because I tried it, and I was looking at all the codes to see if anything was new. Nothing was new. And I backed up a game save, restored a game save, went into the game, arranged some Pokemon around, picked up a Pokemon Wonder Card. Then I went back in to back up my game save, and it suddenly was looping. When it got done looping, there were new codes. And those one of those new codes is the gender change. So it's kind of full circle, ties in there. Yeah. So clean your connectors. No matter what anybody says, do not use alcohol. Do not lick the cartridge. You can just use a slightly damp Q-tip. Works just fine. Just fine. Use the alcohol. It can actually what some people call it is demagnetize the connectors. That will be very bad. And it will be very hard to get data across those connectors, whether you're backing up a game save, reloading a game save, or just trying to play the game. Do not use alcohol. Whoever thinks this is a good idea does not understand how a chip works, because that's essentially what this is, a chip. Do not use alcohol. Ever. Any type of alcohol, especially the type you drink, because it'll make it all sticky and stuff, and it'll definitely eat it up. Just a slightly damp Q-tip works just fine. Just water. Straight water. Bottled water, preferably. Because if your house is like mine and you have well water, that's probably even worse than alcohol. The rust and iron deposits, all kinds of stuff. Bottled water, preferably. Just good old H2O. Anything else in the water, you probably don't want to put it on something as sensitive as a $40 game cartridge. Clean your connectors. Put the game in the power saves. Open the application. Connect the power save to the computer. And wait. That's the best thing you can do.